Hi, I'm Jennifer Chino, joined by my teammate Ashley Earle. And today we are honored to introduce you to someone whose personal journey has already made a real difference for families across Maryland. Welcome, Kelly Seeley.
Thank you.
When Kelly went through a divorce, she faced the heartbreaking possibility of losing the home her children had grown up in, not because she couldn't afford it, but because of outdated mortgage policies. Instead of accepting no for an answer, Kelly fought back, not just for herself, but for every family facing the same struggle. Her story inspired Maryland Senate Bill 0689, a new law that will make it easier for divorcing spouses to stay in their homes. I'm so excited for you to hear directly from Kelly about her experience, her fight, and what this victory means for so many others. Let's dive into her powerful story. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we're so excited. I was thrilled to be introduced to you through Ashley, and we wanted you to share your story with so many others who could benefit from it.
Absolutely.
So tell us how this got started.
So I got a divorce in February of 2024. And so I was, worried. I wanted stability for my children. And the only way I knew about creating stability for them was to keep the childhood home for them, to at least keep something that they knew. We've been there for about 10 years. So I wanted just to keep something very stable for them.
And initially, when you started the proceedings, what was your initial options? Did they tell you about sort of refinancing? How did that work?
I was told about assumption through someone in my network. I was like, I would like to, get more information on assuming the mortgage. I gave them all the information, and they said that I had the wrong loan to assume. We had a conventional loan. So they told me if I had a VA loan, I could assume it. It'd be assumable. But since, I had a conventional loan, it was unattainable. So that's when I kind of hung up the phone and, started digging my heels in, like, how is this possible? Conventional loan, you have to, have good credit. You have to make it a certain amount of money. But, it just didn't make, the 2 points didn't make any sense to me.
What would be your options? If you stayed the course and this bill had not been passed, what would be the route that you would have to take on the mortgage yourself?
They said the best and the cleanest way to start over again is by a cash out refi, that way to be able to pay out the equity to the other co-owner of the home.
But then, of course, increasing your interest rate and all of that along with it.
Yeah, great point. So yeah, we one of the reasons why I wanted to assume this mortgage was it's at a low percentage, sure. Something I can afford. So, I was racing to the finish line trying to be able to assume this mortgage to keep that percentage rate.
Sure.
So who sort of helped you through this process, or how did you do the research, or how did you get everything introduced? Sort of walk us through how that came about.
In 2015, we bought the home. I relied back then a ton on my now ex-spouse. He had a plethora of information on mortgages and real estate, and I just kind of signed the paperwork. Yes. So I had to start my research. I worked for the Maryland General Assembly for 16 years, so I had front knowledge how constituents come in and they propose a bill and they are able to make a difference, and that's how this all kind of got started. I found out who my local senator was, Senator Guile, District 33, and I met her in July of 2023, and then it just was off to the races. Wow. Because I don't think anybody thinks about going to their local state senators or delegates. They make a difference,
When putting the bill together and everything, was it a process of having a conversation with you, or did you just introduce the idea and then they did the research on how to make that happen?
So it can go both ways. I've seen it, on a professional level, and on a personal level. So I kind of, her and her staff, which are wonderful, sat down and we did a round table of just like what happened, what I'm going through, what can we do. They got down a lot of pertinent information, and then they have the people at their fingertips that they can call and try to do the research. And I also had like a it's all about, networking. And I had an old financial planner. She had so much knowledge on certain laws and, that I could kind of read and really gain some knowledge. And then, between her, myself, and then Senator Giles' office, they do the lifting. They do the heavy lifting. They do the research. Now, if I could bring stuff to the table, I would, right? But, they're the ones with the contacts. So you give them the information, and if they can make it happen, they will.
Wow. What was the timeline in the process for it? How long from your initial idea to meeting with her before you kind of crossed that finish line?
I want to say it was a good solid, 11, 12 months. We were all kind of on pins and needles to even see if it would pass the Senate. So when you have a bill, right, and you want it to truly pass, if you get it cross-filing means it's in the House and in the Senate, and if both houses can agree, it's just strong, right? And we were just hoping that it would just be able to be cross-filed and then be able to be passed, and it did. Which still brings chills to me because it's exciting. And then, we were able to, I took my sons, my 13-year-old and 11-year-old, and they weren't very excited to go to something that they had to dress up and wear a belt, but, we were able to see the legislative branch and the executive branch come together to sign this bill into law. And we took a picture with Governor Westmore and all the people that were involved into the bill. And it was an experience that I'll never forget. It was a great moment in time. And it's going to help other people.
Absolutely. The amount of people that this is going to help going forward, you must be so proud of this.
I am. And if it can help anyone in this horrible journey of divorce, just take a load off, just one load off, then I've done my job.
Absolutely. So can we just touch a little bit on the details of it? So going forward, someone who is in a divorce situation, if they want to stay within their home, I just want to make sure I have it correct.
Sure.
They have to be able to be qualified, meet the requirements of the loan.
Right.
Okay.
So, with assumption,
and it's retroactive.
And it's retroactive, which is very exciting. So that means it says October of 2024. So from then on, which is it should be helpful for people. With the assumption, what a person needs to do is call their mortgage company, right, and talk about assuming the mortgage. What has to happen is you fill out a bunch of paperwork. You got to get the other co-owner of the home to agree to allow you to try to assume the house, okay? Once they kind of give you that permission, then the mortgage company kind of goes and does their thing, making sure your credit rate is okay, and then, you got to get the house assessed. You got to find out how much equity is in the home. Once you find that out, and then the co-owner and yourself of the home can work out a deal to be paid out. And, it's not as easy as just, taking the co-owner's name off, right? And it should be, right? If I have the funds to be able to pay the other co-owner, just take off the name. And that was the other thing, with all the legal fees that come with it, the administrative, by just taking off the other, the other co-owner, that just didn't seem like it had to be such a heavy lift as they made it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So if they make sure, all their ducks are in a row, you got to have your percentage rate or your credit score being okay. You have to make sure that you have the money to pay out the co-owner, and then, you should be able to,
And income qualified.
Income qualified, yes, that's for certain. And that's the scary part about it, because it's you were a dual income.
Absolutely.
Right?
Now you're taking it on solo.
Right. And it's is that mortgage company going to take a risk on me? But, I'm paying the mortgage company on time, in full, so.
So it may not be for everyone, but it is an option, and it's definitely something that, we haven't seen before that may streamline some of that process for other people as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's, going through a divorce is, well, for me, I'll just speak on my experience, was absolutely horrific emotionally and financially, because you're used to having a certain income and then it's not there anymore. And then your kids are, you know, asking, can we at least stay in this home? And it was heartbreaking because I couldn't say yes or no.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. We will have all of our information in the description, and more information about the bill and what you need to do to maybe take advantage of it. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly, for sharing your story.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.